Hi friends, Allison here. Welcome back to my channel. I'm finally able to sit down and scrapbook today. I feel like it's been eons, and I thought that I would celebrate that by doing another May I Scraplift You layout today. I scraplifted Sophie Delorme. You saw her layout at the very beginning of my video, and then my completed layout was just after that. What inspired me about Sophie's layout was the configuration that she had her flowers in. Number one, her flowers were gorgeous, and I loved all the layering. And number two, the shape that they were in reminded me of a crescent moon, and that's where the inspiration hit. So I decided to cut a crescent moon with my Cricut, more just as a template to adhere everything to, because I was worried if I tried freehanding it and doing it completely on my own, it would end up looking like something other than a crescent. So to help myself out and to make life easier, I just cut the template and then layered everything over top of it. So all of the flowers were cut with my Cricut. Some of them were hand stitched. Some of them were cut from pattern paper, and then there are some layers there as well. They were also adhered with liquid glue, and the ones that weren't added or adhered with liquid glue were popped up with foam squares. There's also some stars on the crescent moon as well. I wanted to try and fill in some of the empty spots, fill up the blue so it's not so obvious that it's layered on top of a moon as an aid. And even though you can still see parts of it peeking out, I think it is good enough. I'm happy with it. These stars are also adhered with a mixture of glue and foam squares. After I have everything adhered to my moon, I will adhere it to my layout base. But before I do that, I'm going to add an overlay that I cut with my Cricut to the layout base, which, by the way, is a sheet of Cocoa Vanilla Sunkissed from the collection. And then some of the flowers on my moon are also cut from paper from that collection. And there's just a teensy little snippet of pattern paper from Ali Edwards' Hearts scrapbooking kit. So here's the layout base that I had mentioned just a moment ago, and my moon with all the flowers on top of it. I'm just going to use my tape runner to glue that to the layout base, and then here's my picture. My picture is adhered to some packaging from Pink Fresh Studio. The picture is printed at 3 by 3 inches, and then the packaging that it's adhered to is slightly larger than that. It was a really light blue color, the packaging, and I thought it would work really well with my color scheme. It's really hard to see in this picture, and I'm not entirely sure if you'll see it in my close-ups at the end of the video, but it is there, I promise, and I know that it's there. So, FYI. I'm just adhering my title right now. I'm using liquid glue to adhere the title. And once that's done, I'm going to add an arrow that I cut with my Cricut, and then I add a couple phrase stickers from the Sunkissed collection as well above the title. And they both relate to my story, which is about COVID. Sunkissed is a collection specifically for summer, but I love the versatility of it because I found a way to use it for telling a story about COVID. And this story that I'm sharing today in my layout is about the relaunch strategy of at least my province in particular last May in 2020, and how exciting it was and how happy people were that we were opening back up. In my journaling, I just shared some of my concerns at that point, as well as my excitement for things to, at that point, returning to normal, or so we thought. So here is another idea to use up packaging if you don't want to throw it out. I added my phrase stickers from the Sunkissed collection to the packaging from Pink Fresh Studio so that I could pop them up with foam squares as well. No waste, right? So if you don't want to waste any paper, this is a great option to use that stuff up. I'm just further embellishing this layout even more. Quite honestly, I don't know if it needed it or not. In the end, I did decide to use some of these chipboard stickers to use as flower centers on some of the daisies. I thought the colors worked really well with the colors in my layout, and that's why I really wanted to use them. So my way to get around that without adding too much bulk, because there's already enough bulk in my layout, was to hide them under things and place them already in places where it's really busy. Also, to get around that, the busyness, I decided to add my journaling around the outside perimeter of my layout instead of adding it to the center of the layout, because I didn't want the eyes to go berserk and not have any place to rest. Thank you so much for joining me today. That's my layout. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will be back again soon with more inspiration. Bye, friends.